You cannot get through a single day without having an impact on the world around you. What you do makes a difference, and you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make. This quote by Jane Goodall signifies that every action you take, no matter how small, has an effect on the world, directly or indirectly. Hence, the kind of difference you make on the world, positive or negative, is predominantly determined by the choices you make daily.
Hello everyone, my name is Riley Joaquin from Group 4. Let's start with the introduction of business and environmental sustainability. Let me give you a summary of it. Business and environmental sustainability refers to the concept of conducting business operations in a way that minimizes negative impacts on the environment while also ensuring long-term economic viability. It involves integrating environmentally friendly practices into business strategies, decision-making processes, and daily operations. So it says here that many observers believe we have entered the sustainability revolution. Why? The race to create environmentally and economically sustainable products and services is creating unlimited business opportunities. The Industrial Revolution brought with it the ability to degrade the natural environment at a faster rate than ever before. By the start of the 21st century, the Earth is experiencing a high species extinction rate, which also threatens humans due to the global climate change. The major ethical question of this chapter is what responsibilities business have regarding the natural environment. Sustainable business and economic development seeks to create new ways of doing business in which success is measured in terms of economic, ethical, and environmental sustainability, often called the triple bottom line approach. So here we will be showing you an image of the natural step funnel. What is the natural step funnel? The natural step uses the metaphor of a funnel to help us visualize the economic, social, and environmental pressures that will inevitably impinge on society as natural resources continue to diminish and population grows. It is a conceptual representation of resource availability and resource use. It illustrates that as the population and resource demand use increases, the resources available for us to use decreases and freedoms become restricted as we have less room to move. The natural step challenges business to backcast a path towards sustainability. What is backcasting? It is the natural step challenges business to imagine what a sustainable future must hold. From that vision, creative business then look backward to present and determine what must be done to arrive at that future. Sustainable business must use resources and produce waste at rates that do not jeopardize human well-being. Businesses that do so will succeed in moving through the funnel and emerging as successful in the age of sustainability.
For business ethics and environmental values, in earlier chapters, we've already tackled about ethics in terms of practical reasoning. Now, our values are those standards that encourage us or an individual to act one way rather than another. Given this objective, with which values and decisions are supported by a concern with the natural environment? And why should businesses with and value the natural world? Human self-interest is the main reason why businesses need to be concerned with and value the natural world. There are two environmental realities that underscores the importance. First is that global climate change, species extinction, soil erosion, and nuclear waste threaten future generations. Next is that science of ecology and its understanding of the interrelatedness of natural systems shows a wide range of human dependence on ecosystems. Next is the conversion movement advocated a restrained and prudent approach to the natural world. Besides the self-interested reasons to protect human life and health, the natural environment is essential and valuable for other reasons. There are other values that often conflict with the direct value that comes from treating the natural world as a resource. The beauty and the grandeur of the natural world provides great aesthetic, spiritual, and inspirational value. Many people view the natural world as a manifestation of religious or spiritual values. Parts of the natural world can have symbolic value, historical value, and psychological value such as a serenity and exhilaration. Lastly, the animal rights movement attributes a moral standing to animals. Ecological philosopher Edward Aby once declared that growth for the sake of growth is the ideology of cancer cell. He was referring to the ever-diminishing wild places of his beloved Arizona, replaced by sprawling subdivisions that house a ballooning population of retirees alongside massive mining and oil drilling, causing harm to the environment.
This highlights the ongoing discussion about the most suitable approach for businesses to fulfill their environmental responsibilities. It states that there are two main perspectives: relying on efficient markets or implementing government regulation. Both approaches have substantial consequences for businesses. If the preferred method is to trust efficient markets, businesses should prioritize profit seeking and allow the market to allocate resources efficiently to address environmental concerns. On the other hand, if government regulation is considered a more appropriate approach, businesses should adhere to regulations set by the government. Supporters of the market approach argue that environmental issues are essential economic problem and as such should be solved using economic solutions. William Baxter argued regarding the optimal level of pollution and the role of competitive markets in achieving it. Baxter suggests that striving for completely pure air and water would be too costly for society. Instead, he proposes aiming for a level of air and water quality that is safe enough for human consumption. From a market perspective, Baxter argues that resources are essentially infinite because human ingenuity and incentives have historically led to the discovery and development of substitutes for any resources shortage. He believes that all resources are fungible, meaning they can be replaced by substitutes and thus can be considered infinite. Furthermore, Baxter contends that resources not being utilized to meet consumer demand are being wasted. This implies that in a competitive market, resources should be allocated efficiently to satisfy consumer needs and avoid wastage. Market failures, as highlighted, reveal the limitations of relying solely on market solutions. Externalities exemplify one failure, where environmental costs affect non-participants. This can burden future generations with present-day damage. Another failure arises when social goods lack established market prices, hindering their preservation. Scenic vistas and cultural heritage are examples. Ethical consideration may be disregarded if policy decisions solely reflect individual choices, underscoring the gap between individual and collective consequences. Consequently, market outcomes alone may not adequately address broader social and ethical concerns. Addressing these failures requires additional interventions or considerations to effectively tackle environmental and social issues. It discusses the implementation of corporate average fuel economy, which require manufacturers to achieve a specific average fuel economy for their vehicles. It highlights that these standards will not be implemented under a pure market approach. It also mentioned two suggested responses to challenges posed by relying solely on market approaches: internalizing external costs and assigning property rights to unowned goods. It emphasizes the markets provide information about the market failures and potential harm, which can guide interventions to mitigate these issues. The term first-generation problem refers to the limitations of a purely market-based approach, emphasizing the need for additional measures to address market failures and their negative impacts.
Humankind has not woven the web of life. We are but one thread within it. Whatever we do to the web, we do to ourselves. All things are bound together. All things connect. Chief Seattle's quote articulates the interconnectedness of humanity and nature, implying that our actions towards nature directly affect us due to the inherent link. His statement highlights the importance of environmental stewardship, emphasizing that every aspect of life is intrinsically linked. Hence, any harm done to the environment eventually impacts us.
The 1970s saw the passage of many of the most important environmental legislation in the United States. Before these regulations, tort law was the main legal route available for resolving environmental issues. The concept of tort law is to redress a wrong done to a person and provide relief from the wrongful acts of others, usually by awarding monetary damages as compensation. The original intent of tort is to provide full compensation for proved harms. Lawsuits involved contracts fall under contract law. The legislation set forth requirements that transferred the onus of proof from the wrongdoers to the victims. As long as it adhered with the side agreement, business was free to pursue its own objectives. These basic requirements impose restrictions. The two chances society had to define the obligation of business toward the environment. First is individual could ask retailers to stock environmentally friendly goods if they want to get their business. And lastly, individual could support environmental policy as citizens. The regulatory strategy may end up being ineffective in the long run according to a number of issues. First of all, it undervalues the power of industry in shaping the law. For example, light trucks and SUVs were excluded from the CAFE regulations because of the lobbying efforts by the auto industry. Furthermore, this method also undervalues the power of industry to shape consumer preferences. The idea that business merely reflect what the customers want and that customers are unaffected by the messages they send through their advertising is deceptive. Last but not least, this paradigm counts on economic growth but being morally and ethically acceptable. Profit can be achieved in a variety of ways, and those ways can all have quite different effects on the environment.
Environmental regulation is a signal of design failure. This statement by William McDonough suggests that the necessity to regulate environmental issues is an indication that our systems and designs are inherently flawed. It implies that if we design the sustainability, respecting the natural system and resources, environmental regulation would be needed to rectify the damage caused. The 1980s brought a new model which combined financial opportunities with environmental and ethical responsibilities. First is sustainable development. Meets the present needs without compromising the future generations' needs. Sustainable business practices, a model in which business activities meet the standards of sustainability. Three pillars of sustainability. Three factors that are used to judge the adequacy of sustainable development. Sustainable development must be economically, environmentally, and ethically satisfactory. This slide primarily discusses the concept of sustainable development, tracing its origins back to the 1987 Brundtland Commission's report, which gave the standard definition of sustainable development. A notable personality in this field is the economist Herman Daly, who has not only promoted a unique approach to the economic theory pertaining to sustainable development, but also argued for a shift in the way we comprehend economic activity. His perspective suggests that our understanding of economic development should go beyond the customary standard of economic growth. Circular flow model explains the nature of economic transactions in terms of a flow of resources from business to households and back again. Two aspects of this circular flow model are: it does not explain the origin of resources. Second, it treats economic growth as both the solution to all social ills and also as boundless. Business produces consumer goods and services in response to the market demands of households. The goods are then sold to households in exchange for payments back to the business. These payments are used by the business to pay its employees and are directed toward their households in the form of wages, salaries, rents, profits, and interest. Households receive the payments in exchange for the labor, land, capital, and entrepreneurial skills that the business used to produce goods and services. Daly stated that neoclassical economics will inevitably fail to meet the challenges of the sustainability approach unless it recognizes that the economy is but a subsystem within Earth's biosphere. Over the long term, resources and energy cannot be used nor waste produced at rates at which the biosphere cannot replace or absorb them without jeopardizing its ability to sustain human life. This is known as the biophysical limits growth. The biosphere can produce resources indefinitely and it can absorb waste indefinitely, but only at a certain rate and with a certain type of economic activity. The goal of sustainable development is finding that rate and type of activity, thereby creating a sustainable business practice, which is the ultimate environmental responsibility of business. So the model shows the following. Solar energy enters the biosphere and produces energy for all elements within biosphere. The entire circular flow model also exists within that biosphere. The circular flow model shows the following. Business produces consumer goods and services in response to the market demands of household. The goods are then sold to households in exchange for payments back to the business. These payments are used by business to pay its employees and are directed toward their households in the form of wages, salaries, rents, profits, and interest. Households receive the payments in exchange for the labor, land, capital, and entrepreneurial skill that the business used to produce goods and services. In addition to the circular flow model, both businesses and households use energy and natural resources. They also produce waste such as pollution and trash. They also produce waste energy, which is continuously exiting their economic system. This slide presents the business case for a sustainable economy. It suggests that adopting a sustainability model can prove beneficial and perhaps even essential for businesses in the long term. The rationale given includes 5 key points. The first point highlights sustainability as a smart long-term strategy, especially critical for businesses' survival in the future. The second point discusses the vast unmet market potential in developing economies, asserting that only sustainable strategies can fulfill their needs. This untapped market, the base of economic pyramid, is one of the largest and fastest growing in history. The third point mentions how significant cost savings can be obtained from implementing sustainable practices, which can lead to both economic and environmental benefits. The fourth point presents the competitive advantages that sustainable business hold over others. Lastly, sustainability is seen as a solid risk management strategy. By using sustainable actions and products, business can avoid potential future government regulation and legal liabilities.
The inflow of resources from the biosphere into the economic cycle should not exceed the rate of their replenishment. It is desirable to minimize or avoid the generation of waste at a pace that surpasses the biosphere's capacity to absorb it. Ultimately, the energy required to fuel the economic system should be derived from renewable sources, primarily relying on solar or wind power. There are 3 fundamental principles that firms and industries should follow to advance sustainability. Firstly, they should enhance their resource efficiency by effectively utilizing natural resources. Secondly, they should adopt a production process that emulates the biological processes. Lastly, they should prioritize the production of services rather than tangible products. Eco-efficiency, which emerged during the Rio's Earth Summit in 1992, presents a means for businesses to contribute to sustainability by minimizing resource consumption within their production cycles. Closed-loop production aims to incorporate current waste back into the production process, drawing inspiration from biological systems that transform waste into valuable resources. The primary objective of biomimicry is to completely eliminate waste rather than simply reducing it. The evolution of biomimicry can be divided into 2 phases. Take Make Waste. In this phase, businesses acquire resources, manufacture products, and discard any remaining materials as waste. Cradle to Grave. This phase emphasizes cradle to grave or life cycle responsibility, which implies that businesses are accountable for the entire lifespan of their products, including their ultimate disposal even after sale. A cradle to cradle responsibility asserts that businesses should take on the responsibility of reintegrating the end outcomes of their products back into the productive cycle. The third sustainable business principle involves a shift from products to services. In a service-based economy, consumer demand is perceived as a demand for services, such as clothing, cleaning, rather than a demand for products, such as washing machines.
Marketing environmentally friendly products is essential in promoting sustainability. Green marketing involves considering four key aspects: product, price, promotion, and placement. The sustainability of products is crucial for making substantial progress towards sustainability. Marketing plays a vital role in identifying consumers' genuine needs and actively participating in the design and the creation of eco-friendly products. Marketing departments should be involved in product design, and professionals can influence packaging choices. Marketing professionals contribute to promoting sustainability by focusing on environmentally friendly product marketing, understanding consumer needs, actively participating in product design, and influencing packaging decisions. Marketing professionals have a responsibility to establish prices that accurately reflect the ecological cost of a product. Initially, businesses may have experienced losses with new products until economies of scale come into play and lower costs. Sustainable marketers play a role in setting prices to safeguard sustainable products for short-term cost-benefit analysis. Price manipulation along with promotion is employed to establish a presence in the market. Pricing becomes particularly important when targeting the base of economic pyramid. Marketing professionals should ensure that prices align with the ecological impact of products. Taking into account economies of scale, they also utilize pricing strategies and promotions to penetrate the market, especially when targeting economically disadvantaged segments. Marketing shapes consumers' demand by encouraging them to prioritize and demand sustainable products. Through sustainable marketing strategies, marketers can influence social meanings and consumer expectations, creating a supportive environment for sustainable goals. Marketers have a duty to educate consumers and promote sustainable consumption. Advertising plays a crucial role in shaping consumer behavior towards sustainability. Additionally, public pressure can drive the demand for environmental and sustainable labeling. However, it is important to be cautious of greenwashing, which involves misleading consumers about the environmental benefits of a product. Professor Patrick Murphy proposes two pathways for marketing to establish sustainable placement channels. First, he envisions options that prioritize fuel efficiency and alternative fuel technologies. Second, he suggests the adoption of more localized and efficient distribution channels with a greater reliance on electronic distribution instead of physical means. Additionally, Murphy highlights the concept of reverse channels as a variable in marketing that offers sustainability benefits. This involves the practice of reclaiming products after their useful life. Marketing departments are expected to assume responsibility for implementing life cycle management and take-back models.